good.
We're still recording now, Jason.
All right, to set the scene a little bit, I've got Jim Warren. Say hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
And I've got Benjamin Reed. Say hi, Benjamin.
Hi, Benjamin.
So this is Benjamin's first time on our podcast, hopefully not the last. We are in Stanton, Virginia, recording in Stanton, Virginia right now, ahead of our performance of Villains and Clowns at MBU at the Wharf. And we had this opportunity to sit down with Benjamin because Benjamin has an interesting company that he is partnering with us.
I think it's a fascinating company. I think it is an intriguing company. I think it is a forward-looking company. I think it's an amazing company. It's not just interesting.
Too kind.
Yeah, it's all those things.
Too kind.
But so in advance of all the work, Benjamin, let's introduce you, and then we'll talk about your new company, Stageable.
Sure. So my name is Benjamin Reed, and I am an actor turned entrepreneur, restaurateur, business-interested person.
Mogul.
Not nearly to the mogul status, I would say.
Do you consider yourself a mogul? No, not yet.
No, definitely not.
Are you aspiring? Are you aspiring?
If anything, the more you do in business, the more you realize how little you know and how much help you need. And there's a reason why we all specialize in certain areas, and that's because you need a lot of things to run a business efficiently. So no, I'm not a mogul. I am a novice entrepreneur.
Gotcha.
But after doing a couple of businesses in the hospitality industry, I kind of recognized that I wanted to get back to the origin of both. My wife is my business partner, and we are both actors, professional actors by trade, MFA, terminal degrees from University of Houston, worked at the American Shakespeare Center with Jim for many years, doing many plays. And so I wanted to get back into our roots and apply some of the things that I've learned as I've built businesses.
So you and Jim have a history. We have like a few week old history,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
but fast friends.
But fast friends.
Yeah.
But you and Jim go way back. Do you have a memory of? You got a good story or memory you want to tell about Benjamin from your days together at the ASC? I know you have a great story about his wife and all the blood in Bloody Andrew Jackson.
I will start a story about Benjamin, and then maybe Benjamin can finish the story.
Let's hope you both remember it the same way.
When I was the artistic director of the American Shakespeare Center, I would annually go down to the University of Houston's MFA acting program and audition those students. And
so we should probably shout out Jack Young.
Jack Young, yeah.
Now, Jim and I were, here's a real big sidebar. We were in a meeting through the Shakespeare Theater Association with a bunch of artistic directors from around the country, and Jack was in the meeting, and we were talking about this show that we're about to do and the fact that you were going to stream it, and he got really excited. He lit up when he heard your name. So.
Oh, man.
And I forgot that, of course, he would be interested in the fact that it was Benjamin Reed. It completely flew out of my mind that I should have set it up better.
Well,
but I auditioned University of Houston MFA actors year after year after year. So, and the auditions that I put people through were unique.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if you can finish the story about, was there anything about your audition during my time down there where I made you do something silly and stupid?
Well, so what I remember is that I heard that you were coming to town, and I had not heard of Stanton, Virginia, or the American Shakespeare Center at that point. And I researched the company, I found the website, I started looking at the pictures, and I remember being like, oh, this is like exactly the kind of thing that I want to be doing. From the first time I interacted with the website. And then knowing you were coming to town, I was auditioning in my first year. It's a 2-year program, so I couldn't even take any roles if they had been offered, which they weren't.
Well, that was one of the cool things, is that I got to see people who were in their second year and would be available for professional work year-round at the end of that year. But I also got to see people in their first years in the program so that I could watch them develop and hopefully be a part of their future profession.
Yeah. And it was the perfect mix for myself and also eventually Lauren, because we like to do all three: music, acting, and fighting. And all three of those are necessary. And Lauren has a background in dance, too. And there's, as you know, in Shakespeare, lots of dancing. So it just felt like a great fit. And I knew that I wanted to work there one day. And we were going to make that happen.
And did I offer you a job right after you graduated?
Oh, no.
This is something that I would like to say out there in podcast land. I never look at an audition and think, oh, I like them, but I'm not going to offer them a job because it's the first time they audition for me. I've had people say, you never hire anybody from the first time they audition. And, that is never a part of my brain.
Right.
That in putting together troops of actors for rotating repertory, it's not about, do I like them enough? It's, do they fit in with the rest of the team that I'm putting together for those specific plays? And sometimes it works out the first time I see an actor audition. Other times it's, wow, I like them. I don't think I've got a spot for them in this thing. But then another season comes up and another group of actors comes up and it's like, oh, I got the spot for them. And then sometimes, well, they're not available then.
Yeah. Well, so here, I want to touch on that. But first, I want to circle back and say to Jack Young, if and when you were watching, Jack Young says, when you get your Oscar or your Academy Award, he says, I get thanked second. He said that over and over again. And so I wanted to say, I thank God first. I thank Jack Young second, probably my wife third. But Jack, I mean, a huge impact on so many actors, and just training the best of the best and sending them out into the field. And I owe quite a bit to him, and I want to just say thank you to him. But then, hold on.
Jack's supposed to get billing above your agent?
I guess so. Hey, look,
Wow.
He drilled it in my head, and that's now it lives there,
all right.
rent free. But so the thing that I wanted to say in connection to your point, Jim, is you and I were talking about casting, because I approach everything from a theater perspective. And so in my businesses, I'm continually learning that casting plays just as big of a role in business as it does in theater. It's just that they title it in different ways. It's right. HR, it's onboarding, it's talent acquirement, recruitment, and getting the right people in the right positions, doing the right work is the trickiest thing. And if you do it, everything else, it's like a burden just totally releases. And I think you guys know this, that it's the same thing when you're casting a show. If you get the right actors in the right roles with the right stage management team, the show kind of lifts and takes care of itself, and you just, as a director, just kind of guide it and, okay, not that way, this way.
And part of that conversation we were having is it's not just the right actor in the right role or the right person in the right office job. It's about the team.
Yeah,
so
the ensemble.
Yes, yeah. that you might be really good in a particular role, but if I don't put you with a group of people that make up a good team, then it doesn't matter how good you are in that role. It's not gonna fly the same heights that it could.
Well, and I think part of being a good director, but also being a good business leader or leader is sometimes it's about directing the individual, but a lot of times it's about directing the team. It's about curating the culture of the team.
The culture,
and then they can bring their individual skills to the table, and they can make it all work together. Yeah,
culture drives action, and it drives the way people do everything. And as you build that team, you build that ensemble, A players want to work with A players. So when you put a B or a C player in a room full of A players, those A players are no longer happy. And so the correlations between theater and business it's really directly the same. And even in this, I was reading a book called A CEO Only Does Three Things, and I don't know the author's name. That's rude. We'll look it up later and put it in the notes. Yeah, I do remember the three things. See, you got to get the key.
If you're going to quote the title, then you got to know three.
So the CEO does people, culture, and finance. That's it. Only does three things. But you have to be fully in on those three things. And through the book, he talks about how the hardest thing is that everything is starting to point toward you as the CEO, and you have to find a way to only be focusing on those three key elements to make sure that the business is still there tomorrow and a year on and 10 years on.
I think culture is one of those words that has become a buzzword for both sports and business, where people know it's important. They say it's important, but they don't necessarily do the things they need to do to actually make it important on a day-to-day basis.
I'm not even sure people really know what it means until you experience it, until you can point to it, till you're in a situation where you can be like, oh, this is bad. And this is bad culture. Oh, and this is good culture.
Yeah.
But from the outside, when you just, it's about the culture. It's about the you haven't.
It's
gotta
similar
be in it.
in the Shakespeare world. Directors often talk about how they are text first people. They are text forward people, and their work shows that that's bullshit. But they know it's important to say that they are text driven, even when they're not. It's important for them to say culture's important, even if on a day-to-day basis it's not.
It's much easier to talk about and think about than it is to build and put into practice. And it's it's building systems. It's hiring the right people who will build systems themselves and follow those systems and align to the mission, the vision, and the core values of the organization. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but people have very different viewpoints of how they want the world to be and what they need out of their lives and
what they need from the culture that they want.
Yeah.
In one team, you'll have people that want more hands-on direction. They want to be told, please do this, please do that. And others that want to be more left alone to have autonomy in their, and so how do you create a culture where each individual member is getting what they need to perform at their peak level? If this were easy, everybody would be doing it.
Right, and everybody would be successful at doing it, because I think a lot of people are doing it and not being successful at doing it. So do you remember where else you worked before you came to the ASC, after Houston?
Yeah. After Houston, I worked at Tennessee Repertory Theater, Nashville Shakespeare Festival, Tennessee Shakespeare Festival, the Alley Theater in Houston, Texas. And then I wound up here, and I was here for, it was 2014 when we arrived, and the last full season that I was in was when COVID hit in 2020.
Very nice.
So it was 6 years of multiple seasons a year at ASC.
And where did you do your undergrad?
Undergrad was at Belmont University in Nashville.
Back in Tennessee.
Back in Tennessee,
But you're a Pittsburgh guy, right?
I'm Pittsburgh, born and bred.
I only bring that up because you've got two Steelers fans sitting here with you right now.
I like the Steelers.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
I like the Steelers.
I love to hear that.
Go Pittsburgh.
Jim, have you read of or heard of the book The Score Takes Care of Itself by Bill Walsh?
I have heard of it, and I certainly know who Bill Walsh is,
okay.
but I don't know the book.
So it's his, I think it was his son that took his philosophy and his legacy and turned it into a book. But it's all about the culture building process that Bill Walsh did, and the title indicates you don't focus on the score, on the scoreboard. You focus on the processes, focus on the plays, focus on the drills, focus on the team, and if you do that and take care of business, you ain't got to worry about the score.
Right.
That's gonna happen.
You're going to have victories when you're not taking care of business, and you have to be able to identify that. And you're going to lose sometimes when you are playing the right way.
Yeah.
So if you're just focused on wins and losses, then you might not be building the best team possible.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll bring up another team that you're not as big a fan of. But
It's going to be the Boston
it is.
Celtics.
So my boy Joe Mazzulla, I saw a press conference from him where who's the head coach of the Celtics. They asked him.
Who's from West Virginia?
Yes, played at WVU. So they asked him. He's sort of getting this reputation of like being very game plan oriented and then trying to like Novocaine, like we're gonna run this and we're gonna stick to this plan, and more times than not it's gonna work. And the reporter asked him like how hard is that to be in the middle of something and something not be working at the time and you not wanting to abandon your preparation. He said it's not hard at all. You can't make decisions based on feeling. You have to trust all the preparation that you did, and then just know that that's gonna carry the day more times than it's not.
Preparation like word swap and verse surfing for Shakespeare.
Which we talked about that, yeah. So so pandemic shut you down. You went into shut ASC down, and you started to get into this world of not being a business mogul but being an entrepreneur, and now you have this idea and this new, really pretty incredible thing that you're launching. It's called Stageable. Maybe tell us what it is, and then tell us where the idea, what's the genesis of this?
Yeah. So, it's stageable.com, www.stageable.com. You can go and it's live. You can look it up. It is in its infancy, so it is still, it's not V1, but it's V2.5, 3.5. It still needs a lot of iterating and refining, and I'm working within my own limitations. I'm not a web designer. I like tech, but I am not a techie. I'm more interested in what the tech can accomplish. And
see, I think that's interesting, Benjamin, because so much of what you're about to talk about is really tech driven, and part of me would inaccurately assume that you're like, oh, this guy just loves all this technology and he's found a way to use it. But that's not it. It's actually the other way.
Yeah, it's the same thing with stage violence and storytelling. Like, I was never one of those SAFD, that's the Society of American Fight Directors. These guys who they just love. They love battle scenes. They love fights. They love choreographing it. They love the swords and they get into it, and it is very cool. I'm not knocking getting into it at all, but it's just, for me, it was always, it was an expression of this telling the story. And so in the same way, let me get back to your original question. So Stageable is a mission-based organization that wants to connect independent performing artists with their audiences through digital media. It's trying to recognize that we have all these new colors in our palette to paint with because of technology and things that we just literally could not be doing even 5 or 10 years ago. And I'm trying to get theaters to recognize that there's a ton of creativity and there's a ton of accessibility that we can now provide people through the fact that we can pitch to a global market through the internet, and through the fact that we can, spend a few $100 on nice podcast equipment, and all of a sudden you're amplifying your voice and your connection with your audience through a digital file.
He's pointing to my. He was referring that someday I'll have nice podcast equipment.
This seems pretty legit to me.
Yeah,
this is great.
It's good enough.
So take our viewer and podcast listener into the conversations that you and I were having, that we've been meeting every so often. Whenever I'm in town, we get together for coffee and we talk about stuff. And when you were first talking about this idea, when it was buzzing around in your brain, one of my first reactions was, after the pandemic, I don't need to see another goddamn play on my computer ever.
Yeah.
How can this be good? Theater is live. What you're talking about is anti-live theater.
Yeah.
What did you say to that?
Well, that's always the first reaction that I get from theater people is like, no, we can't do this because the whole point is that we experience this together in the same room. And I need to be very clear that that is the very thing that Stageable is trying to highlight, support, make sure that it doesn't die off as, we move more and more into being able to get major streaming movies, like Wicked, which is going to be streaming to your Apple TV or Samsung or whatever you use, to watch your TV these days. It just came out in theaters, and now it's going to be available to stream in your home. And it's like these independent artists are going to fall to the wayside, and more market share is going to go towards the people with the big guns, with the big budgets. And it's like I want to figure out ways to move some of that market back into the independent artists' hands so they can make more live events and connect with their audience wherever they might be, and when they're not able to come to the theater because your theater might be in Connecticut and I live in Richmond. But does that mean I can't be a fan of the American Globe Center? I sure hope not.
What struck me as soon as we started talking about it was this idea behind Stageable actually preserves, protects, promotes live theater as something that you do in a room together.
Yep.
But not everybody can be in that room.
Yeah.
So how can we increase the community that theater reaches through different technological advances that you are trying to hook theaters up with via Stageable that aren't just about, though it does include, streaming live performances. You're talking about how can we bring people into each of our communities who don't live physically in those communities.
And doesn't it feel a little bit like sports? Like
Very much so.
Like what professional sports leagues figured out a long time ago.
Yeah.
That there is community to be built. There's money to be made. There's fans to be
connect with
via radio, television, and now the internet and apps and all that.
You can be a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers and live in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've never been to a game, and I may never go to a game, but I'm able to connect with them in a lot of ways, and it almost feels like this Stageable idea is just us catching up with something that other people have already figured out.
Well, and the technology just wasn't there. I mean, this is brand new. Like we couldn't do this even. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I've been researching it and working on it, and it wasn't until a year and a half ago that I even felt like I had the ability, and then I'm building the knowledge. I still don't have all the knowledge I need to get it done and get it done the way I want to do it. So it takes time, and but the point is it can be done, and independent performing artists should be all over looking for any creative ways that they can do more of what they do,
What are some of the things that you think will be core offerings from theaters on Stageable that are not just streaming live performances?
Yeah. Well, it's very important not to get caught up in the forms and to stay focused on the goal, which is creating that connection between audience and performers and artists, so that they can feel like they are a part of the community.
Right.
So as technology changes, I imagine that the forms will change. Demand might change. Okay, we want to do live streams of live plays. Okay, we don't really like live streams of live plays, but I do love sitting and doing a chat with the artistic director and being able to ask him a question, even though he's in Connecticut and I'm in Richmond. Or I do like the interviews with the actors or backstage content that gets captured and edited and released, exclusively to the fans of whatever theater, or it's really any kind of performing arts. So this is music, dance, theater, venues, stand-up, storytelling, all kinds of ways like that. And then you got podcasting, you've got PDFs. You can create a document and instantly change it into something that's easy to download through the internet. And for me, so the concept as it stands now with Stageable is that the audience will go there as kind of a centralized location to discover the things that they are already interested in, love. So if you're a Shakespeare lover and you go to Stageable and you look at the theaters and you see something like the American Globe, like, oh, I want to click on that and learn more about it. And if you like what you learn about it and you want to support them, it's an easy way to part with a few of your dollar bills to gain access to content and things that are curated and created literally just for you, the Shakespeare fan who wants to see the Globe built, or who, it could be the Chekhov Theater, it could be a specific comedy club that you went to in New York City that you loved and you just want to be able to continue to engage with it. I went to Birdland in New York City to see Houston Person. It was his 98th. I think that's right. I might get that. If it's not 98th, it was way up there. His 98th birthday concert.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was an incredible experience. I went with my dad and my brother, and the space was historic and it was interesting. And it's like, man, it would be really cool if I could engage with that,
As we're trying to give people an idea of what this platform, this concept, this company has to offer, are there comparables that they may already know of, that this might be a little bit of this, a little bit of that?
Yeah, it's it's really trying to create a digital platform that is catered specifically to the performing arts. There's Patreon, which is geared more toward creators, and then they kind of spin that off to kind of whoever might be able to benefit from that. There is Airbnb, which is a hotel company that owns no hotels. You've got Uber as a taxi company that doesn't have any taxis. And that's sort of the same concept, right? Like, we are going to be a theater company. We don't produce or make any theater, at least for right now, but what we do is try to amplify and help other theaters and music organizations and dance companies connect with the people who have already shown interest in that thing. I love ballet. I really love this specific ballet company. I just want to feel like I'm engaging with it when I can't drive, pay for the parking, purchase the ticket, go out to dinner, pay for the sitter. Like, is there a way that I can be involved, but not that involved with that intense of a commitment, both of time and money and planning? And I've got little kids, and it's hard to get out.
So Stageable is newer to me than it is to you, because you and Benjamin have been talking about this for years, and I've been learning about it. Probably this year was the first time that I was able to hear about it and learn about it and engage with it. And I think this goes to the previous question you asked about what's going to be there,
Mm-hmm.
And the more I think about it, and I think about in the theater, there is so much that we do in the shadows. There is so much that we do that people don't know about, they don't understand, they don't ever get to see. And the type of thing...
And that goes from the front office to the backstage, all all
Sure.
things that are not public facing.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that Benjamin suggested in one of the many conversations we've had about, how can we use Stageable was, why not do part of a live stream of your first read through of the play, the
Yeah.
first time you get the whole cast together? And I'm thinking, fans of they would love that. The first time that this cast sits down, and then knowing I'm going to see the show eventually, and I just think there's so much that we do in the shadows, and then I think, why don't we show more of this? Why don't we show more of, not all of it, but more of the process and more of the stuff that goes on, and more of the first time that I got to try this costume on, or, and I think that people who are fans of a specific theater or a specific type, whether that be dance or Shakespeare or musical theater, I think that type of access is something that they would find great value in.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that, look, let the creative people get creative. Like, put the tools in their hands, and all of a sudden it's like, I am 100% sure that I have not had the great ideas yet. I've had many ideas of what you might be able to do, but I'm just one dude, one of my great joys is helping artists do their thing, just empowering them to play a concert. I get the privilege of, I have a wine bar in town here, and
it's called the Green Room.
It's called the Green Room.
Benjamin doesn't
If you're
seem
in
to want to
Stanton.
plug his things, but come to Stanton, Virginia, and go to the Green Room.
thegreenroomstanton.com, remedyburger.com.
There we go.
Stageable.com. Visit us and come to Stanton and come and eat and drink lots of good food, and maybe catch a show at the Green Room, because we've been experimenting with this stuff there, and the Green Room will be Stageable's second client, one of the first clients, and we're just going to continue to do special events on the day that we're typically closed, Tuesdays, and we've done several of these, and they've been awesome, and they're small. We have like 40 seats, but with the live streaming, there's literally, the potential is unlimited almost, or as limited as my tech abilities are. But to see, to be able to provide a space where there's a guy named Sam Moss who happens to live in town and happens to be an incredible folk artist with beautiful albums on Spotify, and we got to have him come, and we did a live stream, and we had a live audience for him, and it was so amazing to get to be a part of helping him do what he is so talented at doing. And I feel the same way with you guys. I believe in the dream that you have. I believe it will be more than a dream one day in the future, and I think the world will be a better place because of that. And if I can help even in a small, tiny way, I want to. And we'll work on it together. Collaboration is always better than one dude's ideas.
I think that the theater world started to experiment when the pandemic shut everything down, when there were no options for live performance. Every theater tried to figure out, the catchword was pivot. How can they pivot to something digital to try to hold their communities together, to try to give their communities some of their love, some of their art, some of something during this time where we all felt so damn isolated. And it seems to me that since the theater world reopened, we, as quickly as possible as an industry, shut down all of that creativity because we thought our thing is live and in person, and we don't want to offer stuff digitally because we're afraid that having digital offerings will make people not show up. And I think that is such myopic thinking. It's not seeing the forest for the trees, and it's not about trying to see how the new mediums digitally can actually increase the number of people who show up and increase the number of people who want to be a part of the community and physically can't be there all the time, But if you make stuff available digitally, then they're going to save their money to come visit in person when they can.
And again, this is the analogy that I keep going back to. It's amazing to me that there are people that feel that way. Like, oh, if we do digital, then people won't come. It's amazing that they can know the New York Yankees exist and still feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the world is different. And I think one of the big things that I love about Stageable, I love a lot of the idea, but the idea of live streaming performance is you saying during the pandemic, oh God, I can't take another one of these motherfucking, it's different because we're watching with a live audience, and that's the huge difference. I think.
For us, for the AGC, if you are viewing a live show that is being streamed, you are not only watching it with a live audience, you are a part of that live audience, because our audiences are always part of the world of the play, which means that it's a greater challenge to capture that visually, because we're not trying to show a play like a movie, because our plays aren't like a movie in real life. It's about a collective where the lights are on the audience are part of the world of the play. How can we film that in a way that the audience at home, streaming on their phone or on their laptop or on their big-ass TV, how can they feel like they are part of that live experience? And there are ways to do that, and that's what we're dreaming about and planning about, and what we're hopefully going to get a little piece of tonight when we do this performance.
And again, going back to what Benjamin just said, let the creative people get creative. Put that problem out there, and that challenge, whatever you want to call it, and then let's figure out how to solve it.
It's also, another way that you're going to create community here is that it's the people that you have performing. When you get to know Sam Moss's music, and all of you out there should, and you too should.
SamMoss.com? No? Maybe?
No.
Go to Spotify.
Spotify, Sam Moss. But then you want to, if you have the ability to then get to know him and feel a personal connection to him, and it's the same thing with y'all, as you have your performers who are the AGC standard, we see them,
the heart and soul of the theater,
company.
of the performances. Yeah.
As people get to know them, it's like, well, I know I could watch Kenneth Branagh do Hamlet. Like, I don't want to watch Kenneth Branagh. I want to see Jason do Hamlet tonight, and I can't be in Connecticut, but I can live stream it, and I still get access to that all important thing of live performance, which is, we don't know what's actually going to happen because it hasn't happened yet, and it is fresh, and things could go wrong or things could go right. And this performance is not last night's performance, and it's not tomorrow's. You get to be there with us in real time.
And
see, you have no idea what I'm going to do tonight. That's what Benjamin's saying.
Oh no,
I
directed the show, so I know what you're going to do tonight, Jason, because it's been a collaboration for us to create this show together.
You know what I should do is what?
I think that old school people that are as old as I am or older, they remember a time before digital stuff. They remember fan clubs. They remember a musical band or an artist that they joined the fan club, and they would get mailings. They would get special stuff in the mail. You take that idea and you push it forward. What Taylor Swift does for her fans is amazing, because she's not afraid to put stuff out there that allows some vulnerability and allows people to connect with her, so that they're dying to buy tickets for a show, even though she just gave them for free that acoustic performance of that song in that coffee shop.
100%. I mean, that's exactly the point. And if we, Taylor has all of the infrastructure and support so that Taylor is only doing the Taylor work. And if we don't start figuring out how to lighten the burden on performing arts organizations who are already stretched thin, then they're never going to keep up. And that's the true mission of Stageable is, can I just support? I mean, like, I've been toying with different kind of catchphrases for the website, and one is support your stage. So find the stage that you love, support them by subscribing to them, and then in exchange for that subscription, whatever the dollar amount is, you get access and you get inclusivity to a community where you're getting the kind of things that you want from the stage that you love.
And if the artist, if the client of Stageable is doing their job, they're going to create some online community through Stageable, and they're going to be asking those folks, what do you want to see?
Yeah.
What can we do for you to help you feel a bigger part of this?
Yep.
And that's where the snowball can just keep on rolling, where you're asking the people who are paying to support you what they would like to have as input from you so that they can feel an even bigger part of things. Stageable's big.
I was going to say it's going to be, but it already is. Stageable.com, it's live, it's there. It's kind of a dream come true because it should be a dream come true for new companies, for smaller companies, because it has so many different things that can be done off of Stageable.com, but it all is in the same place. Like the ability to like, you can get merchandise, you can get AGC merchandise from Stageable.com. You can watch live streams. You can download PDFs that give us information about, the project and updates on the project. And if I was trying to do this for the AGC or for any company off of Stageable, then I'd have to have Shopify, and then I'd have to do this, and then I'd have to have Patreon, and then I'd have to have, but Stageable is like it's that one-stop shop in a lot of ways that should be a breath of relief for young companies going, oh man, I can just shove everything and shove all my people in this direction, and they have this sort of depository of a whole bunch of ways to engage. And I'm sure that was part of your plan.
Well, yeah, and as you build your subscription base and you focus on delighting your customers, the people who have subscribed
focus
to
on
you.
Delighting more people.
Yes, thank you, Jason.
You are a delight, Jim, all the time.
Thank you very much, Benjamin.
Whoa.
Jason, Benjamin just said I'm a delight.
But so
It
look,
was the all the time part that made
the people who sign up for American Globe Center are clearly going to be interested in Shakespeare, in experiencing Shakespeare at a Globe recreation theater. And so I've learned in business that you don't have to serve the entire market. There are people who don't like Shakespeare. They can come and see shows at the Performing Arts Center that you build next to it, and they don't have to go to the Globe. But it's like, or there are people who don't like theater. They like ballet. They like classical music, and it's like, that's great. You should like whatever you like. But if people come to you
and Shakespeare, right?
Well, yeah, everybody should
whatever
like
you
Shakespeare.
like and Shakespeare.
And if you don't already, then come see us, and we will
you
make
will.
it.
That's right.
We will make
That's right.
and Shakespeare part of your life.
But your subscribers are basically saying, hey, I already love this thing that you do. Can you maybe bring some value into my life on a recurring basis? It's like, that shouldn't be that hard. If what you love is Shakespeare, and what you do is, all I do is focus and think about Shakespeare, his staging conditions, his plays, how they interact with modern plays, how they interact with pop culture, these things should go together without so much issue,
Before we get to closing, I want to make sure that you address the part of Stageable that connects people who subscribe to something to other communities that are on Stageable. Because as Jason was talking about, Stageable being great for young companies who don't have all of these things in place. I think for big companies who have a ton of money, who have a lot of people in a bunch of different departments.
Oh, they could have more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they, if somebody goes to Stageable and subscribes to some big company, what else is that subscriber gonna get because that big company is on Stageable?
Yeah, so this is we run our businesses through Square. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Square. A lot of small businesses use them to process credit cards. And they have a online web builder. And as I told you, I'm not a web designer. I don't have any of that technical proficiency. But they've made it very user-friendly because their customers are guys like me who don't know how to build websites.
So you're saying it's hip to be Square?
It's hip to be Square.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Thank
How
you,
did
Huey
know?
Lewis.
So anyway,
You are so old.
I'm working through somebody else's system that was designed for its own kind of goal, and I'm trying to work creatively, collaboratively with their web builder. And this idea came from the limitation that I had through that to only have one password that can protect the whole site. But I actually love what it led to because what it means is that if you subscribe to the American Globe Center because you want to support that project, and it's an easy way for you to support them on a recurring basis, and as AGC gains subscribers, what you're able to make and do for the subscribers gets stronger and stronger as that revenue builds and grows. And it's like, well, now we've got 100 people subscribing, and that means we have this much coming in per month, which means we can now put those funds towards making this and that and that and that, and it just grows and snowballs. But when you do that, you'll get a password at the top of the month that gives you the access to the special content, the special page that's members only, and that password will get you access to the whole site. So right now there's only two. There's the venue of the Green Room, which is my wine bar. There's the American Globe Center.
in Stanton, Virginia, the Green Room.
And yeah, in Stanton, Virginia.
The Green Room in Stanton, Virginia.
And but you can react and interact with Green Room content wherever you live, because we're going to be providing all kinds of different stuff through digital medium as well. We're moving our wine club, we're transforming our wine club into a stageable membership. So you're going to get a gift card as a member to Green Room if you join through us.
So that's how I drink virtually.
That's how you drink. Well, no,
I mean, you're saying that I get to drink.
you could store up a lot of gift card to come and drink and imbibe in person.
Gotcha.
But,
Okay.
So this, it might make more sense to the locals, but if you just really wanted to watch some concerts and maybe we've done a one-person show there. We're looking
Jenna Hoban,
who is amazing and did an incredible one-woman show at the Green Room called Diary Bonfire.
Jenna Hoban in New York, New York.
Yep. So anyway, you'll get access to everything. So digital access. You won't get the in-person, so if you subscribe to the American Globe Center, you won't get the $25 gift card for Green Room. You have to subscribe to Green Room in order to get that gift card. But there's just like...
okay, so you got to explain. I'm a little slow on the pickup. And
No.
it's so if I subscribe to the American Globe Center, I go to stageable.com, I have my password, I go in, and anything that the Green Room has put on Stageable, like a video, like a podcast, I can get to that.
Yeah, if we upload it to the site.
I can. What I don't get is anything that the Green Room does outside of the site.
And for just its members. So like, let's say we might put a link to a live stream on our page that's like anybody on Stageable can come and watch this live stream. Or we might send a link through email to the people who have subscribed to us and say, this is just for you. And maybe we'll put, the Sam Moss concert from last year up for everybody, but the live stream that's happening, tonight is for our members only until we decide to make it public.
So it's the digital art version of, "Psst, hey kid, come here. I got something for you to try.
Okay, that's really. Is it in your van?
Get into the van.
It is.
Here's some candy.
It is like
I'm sorry.
the performing arts do need a centralized location. I mean, you have it in other areas of the internet, that my little corner of the internet. And it's like, I'll be honest, most of the things that are happening, the performances that are happening around me, they're not marketing to me. It's not getting to me. And I might be super interested in going to see a new play in Richmond. I didn't know it existed. And like, maybe I found out about it 6 months later, but this is a marketing tool as well. You know, it's like we're all in the same place because we like the same things. And if I like the American Globe Center, I might also like the American Shakespeare Center. I might also like, these people who do new works. I might also like this company in New York City that does drunk Shakespeare. I mean,
now we're back to the green room and Shakespeare and drinking virtually.
yes, exactly. And so it's like, find what you love. Go out and find your thing, and then make sure they are able to keep doing it. Make sure that they don't fall by the wayside. Make sure they've got what they need to take care of business. I mean, we talked about the pandemic, right? And how I would argue that theaters struggled they didn't have the practice in creating digital content, so they couldn't connect with their audiences while that was happening. Some people did. The Alley did a great job. And I mean, other people tried their best, the Zoom readings over and over and over again. And there's nothing wrong with trying your best. I mean, you've got to do that before you can get better.
Absolutely.
But when the pandemic ended, it was like, well, now we don't have to do that anymore. It's like, no. That should not be the attitude.
Find a better way to do those things that are in concert with what you are now able to do again live.
And take care of both audiences, please. There's the in-person audience, and there's the people who can't make it to your theater for any number of great reasons, be it accessibility, be it income level, be it they can't find a babysitter, be it they're too old to leave their house. But does that mean you're just not for them? That seems so short-sighted to me.
Yeah.
It seems like we've stuck our heads in the sand and we're like, well, I guess this is the way it's always going to be. But, a business is doomed when it stops being willing to change. It stops being willing to say, okay, the world is not the way it was before the pandemic. It's different now. I can insist that I want the world to be the way it was before 2020 and just keep insisting it regardless of the fact that it's doing no one any good. Or I can change. I can change my mind. I can change my mindset. I can adapt to a new world, and I can try to put some good stuff out into the people and the communities and whoever I can reach, be that in person or be that through a digital medium.
I think that one of the big fallacies there is that as theaters had to pivot during the pandemic, they thought they were serving their live audience through their digital offerings, that they were just trying to keep the people happy who have already come to their theater and now can't come to their theater.
Yeah.
What I think most theaters found is that they got more of a community because as soon as they offered things digitally, people who didn't go to that theater checked them out.
Yeah.
And there's something about that mindset that the technology doesn't have to be, we're filming our live shows to be like a movie where we are competing with Kenneth Branagh's Hollywood blockbuster. That is not, in my opinion, it's not the main thing. It's certainly not the only thing that Stageable has to offer. That we don't have to just do live performance in a streamable form. There is so much more we can do through streaming, through virtual content, as we've been talking about, that grows the community beyond the people who have already been. And with the AGC, we're brand new.
Yeah.
So people have asked us all the time, love this idea that you're doing. How can I help? Stageable provides that opportunity in a really bite-sized package where it doesn't cost that much money for you to have a big impact.
Yes.
And you can be a vital part of the beginning of this new community, the beginning of this colossus that we're building that will, have hundreds of thousands of tourists per year coming to Connecticut. In addition to that, we want to be able to reach people who are interested who can't come to Connecticut. And they can do that through a small dollar amount via Stageable and become a part of that community.
So it's December the 29th and of 2024, and it will be the new year before people are able to listen to this podcast. But as of right now, we are live on stageable.com, and I heard we have a subscriber. Yeah.
Yes, we have one subscriber for
so
the American
far.
Globe Center.
And
It's me.
It's okay.
The Green Room and Remedy Burger in Stanton, Virginia.
But you can go and
sell it. So sell it. I mean, it's $25, and then what do we get? What do I get for $25?
I don't know, Jason. What do they get for
I don't know.
$25?
You guys built it. You tell me.
well, there's a list of benefits that come with the American Globe Center, and
Where can I find that list?
You can find that at stageable.com/American-Globe-Center, or you can just click through the Discover. Right now, that's what it's called. And go to Theater and then American Globe Center, and it'll lead you to a public landing page that anybody can access at any time. It lets you know about the project, why you're doing the project, some information about how you can get involved. And one of those ways is in exchange for your $25, there's going to be access to live streaming events. There's going to be, what are some of the other benefits we got? There's the backstage access. So there's a members-only entrance button that you need a password to get to. And you guys are going to be creating content and putting it there before anybody else has access to it. So it's not to say it won't ever get released, but then as the American Globe Center grows, what you're going to be able to provide will also grow. I mean,
Right.
You're going to do PDF documents. This could be information about the actors. It could be information about the playwrights you're working with. It might be information about William Shakespeare and how what we learn from his plays that can be applied to a myriad of situations. You're going to get access to the entire stageable.com website, which as we grow, that value offering will only get better. So I think there's all kinds of ways that it's going to benefit both the theaters, the performing arts organizations, and the audience. They're going to get a lot out of it. And I think more than anything, they're going to know that they have done their small part to keep it going, to keep the dream alive, to put the first stake in the ground, or break ground, to put that first shovel into the dirt in Connecticut. When you join and become part of that community, you literally are helping to build it. And I know you guys are going to feel a lot of gratitude and appreciation, but you're also going to do a lot of stuff for those people, as much as you have the ability to do.
Do you have that list there, Jason?
I don't. I gave up because Benjamin pretty much already just nailed it all. But I just want to make sure that we're closing by saying, like, this is not a, hey, in the future, there's going to be this, like this, it's right now live. Like, as you're listening to this podcast, you're watching this podcast, you should be going to stageable.com. You should be clicking Discover. You should be clicking Theater. You should be clicking American Globe Center. You should be paying $25 a month, and you should be reaping the benefits of that membership and helping to support this thing that we're building. And one of the things that you're going to be able to see is the show that we're about to perform tonight in a few hours that is going to be streamed and recorded and put up there for our members.
It's really, I think, it strikes me as we are hitting two big things that you get when you subscribe to American Globe Center on stageable.com. You are going to be getting a list of stuff that you can go there and look at. There are goodies that we are going to provide that only people that are part of the community get access to, and early access to other things that the whole public will eventually get access to. So there is that side of things that is, here's a list of perks, here's a list of benefits, here's a list of goodies. But on the other track is you get to be a part of the AGC community from the ground floor as we build this big thing. You get to help make this dream happen. You get to make the world's only 1614 timber frame recreation of Shakespeare's Globe happen. And it's a tangible thing, and it's a thumbs up. You guys keep going, keep sending me stuff, keep me in the loop, keep me as part of the team as you build this thing forward. And we'll join you in Connecticut at the Globe when you open that sucker. But between now and then, here's some help, and let's do this together as a team.
The other pitch is that your dollar is going to go twice as far, because the lion's share will go to who you're subscribing to, and then Stageable will take some to continue to develop and support and find new ways to help and uplift these different organizations. So your membership is helping two performing arts focused organizations thrive. And, you know, if you live in a household of 4, that $25 a month membership is now, you know, cut into quarters. If it's a household of 6, you know, and so on. I mean, now per person, you're getting so much for a small price tag. And, you know, I think I'm more than happy to be the first subscriber for the American Globe on Stageable, because I'm excited that my $25 a month is going to get the snowball rolling, will get the thing going and building, and it will affirm my identity as someone who wants to support the performing arts, who believes in the vision of having a Globe in America that I can drive to or fly to. I don't have to go over to the UK to go to that Globe theater. I can do it here. I mean, it's just, that means so much to me that we're already there as far as value goes. I'm just excited to be a part of it and in on it, like you said, Jim.
Okay, so we finish like this. Say I'm in Stanton, Virginia, and I get to go to Remedy Burger.
Yeah.
All right, and it'll be my only time that I ever get to go to Remedy Burger.
Ooh.
What do I have to try?
I mean, it's the Remedy Burger, number one seller.
Number one seller. What's on the Remedy Burger?
So the Remedy Burger is a locally baked brioche sesame seed bun with Remedy sauce, which is our take on a secret sauce, or like, you know, just a classic burger sauce, dill pickles, American cheese, raw white onion, 2 patties. It's perfect.
Have you had one?
I have had one.
Yeah?
They are delicious.
Delicious.
It's like the best Big Mac you ever had. You know?
Tasty and great vibe.
Yeah,
Sweet.
good vibes.
Benjamin, thanks.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for this, and thanks for all that you're doing for the AGC.
Hey, thank you for all you're doing for Stageable, and I look forward to the continued partnership.
We got to go do a show, man.
Let's go do a show.
Let's get ready.